Welcome back to Don't Be Fooled. We watched this week's hearing between the Trump legal team and Arizona state legislatures as they brought forth evidence of election fraud in Arizona. The question then falls to, what is the remedy? What can we do to fix it specific to this election? Jenna Ellis laid it out for the Arizona legislatures.
We are going to ask you as legislators to reclaim that authority and to make sure that the people of Arizona and indeed the people of the United States of America as a whole are not disenfranchised by corruption. Not just the choice, but the actual duty and obligation of the legislature to step in and to make sure that you don't certify false results. You are the last step to make sure that this election is not corrupted. And again, we aren't asking you to step in and overturn an election. We are asking you to step in to make sure that the corruption that occurred here does not stand.
And yet the Republican governor of Arizona, Doug Ducey, certified the state's election results in the middle of the hearing. He didn't even bother hearing the case. Last I recall, though, this is what he had to say just a few weeks ago about certifying the election.
I've also said that we are going to count all the votes in Arizona. We are going to allow whatever legal challenges that come to be swiftly adjudicated inside the state of Arizona, and that I will respect the election results.
Governor Ducey, you sure turned your back on America. The Trump legal team has brought forth mountains of evidence of voter fraud so far, yet people are still asking, why is this a civil matter? Reporters and even many legal experts seen on mainstream media networks just seem to shrug this off, saying, well, sure, there's some fraud here and there, but it doesn't look like it's enough to overturn the election. Last I checked, law and order is kind of important, and maybe we should start investigating and arresting people at the criminal level, not just a civil argument to see who wins the election. CNN had a big breaking story this week with Jake Tapper having a public epiphany that China misled the world about the coronavirus.
We have some breaking news for you in our world lead. CNN has obtained leaked documents from inside China, documents that reveal the missteps and the chaos of the Chinese government's early response to the coronavirus pandemic. The documents are from Hubei province, home to the city of Wuhan, where the pandemic is thought to have started. They show authorities released misleading public data on the number of deaths and the number of cases. They took, on average, 3 weeks to diagnose a new case and much more.
Shocker. It only took them 10 months to come to that realization, and conveniently, of course, after the election. Thanks for catching up. At this point, there's really not a lot of difference between satire and CNN. Joe Biden, breaking his foot, also managed to win praise from CNN's Chris Cuomo, where he tried to argue that Biden's transparency and forthrightness with the media was the opposite of President Trump's.
As someone covering the White House for a long time now, I took a lot of comfort in something pretty small, like the size of a pinky toe bone. When Biden hurt his foot, I appreciated it. Why? Because I'm a sadist? No, because we just got the straight truth about it. No lie, no deny, just he was out playing with his dog. He sprained his foot or broke some bone in his foot. He'll probably have to wear a walking boot for weeks. So why is that a big deal for me? Because there was no BS. There was no blocking us from the reason that Trump was rushed to a hospital. No fugazi doctors with these absurd lauding statements about Biden being superhuman, the strongest pinky toe in history. Just the truth.
Meanwhile, MSNBC's Andrea Mitchell said quite the opposite and went against the trend of the news media that Cuomo was peddling there.
And Yamiche, turning back to the president-elect and the injury he suffered Sunday, it was also notable, he fell playing with his dog Major, we're told, on Saturday. It wasn't until Sunday that the White House pool knew that he was going somewhere, and then it turned out to be a doctor, for an X-ray, and then they needed more imaging, so CT scans. They weren't as forthcoming as you would hope they would be with the press pool that's supposed to cover him.
Well, the cat's out of the bag. She told a little bit of the truth, and the left is having a full-on conniption over it, as expected. So upset that they're even calling for her retirement. It's quite amazing how Chris Cuomo and everyone at CNN won't acknowledge the fact that Biden broke his foot on Saturday, and no one was told for 24 hours. Not that it matters, but gushing about transparency while it was hidden until the moment it couldn't be anymore is just insane.